Assalamu alaikum. I'm Masal Fardin, today's host on our YouTube channel ZED TV. I also like to introduce our guest for today, Dr. Kaisar Khan, consulting engineer, Pennsylvania Power and Light PPL, a renewable expert. Previously, he served two government agencies in Bangladesh as the engineer. And our second guest is Mahabubur Rahman, MS in finance from Boston, working in investment banking for 18 years State Street, attached with BNP from the beginning as advisor. Today, we're gonna discuss about SAARC, the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, shortly known as the SAARC, is a regional intergovernmental organization and geopolitical union of the state in South Asia. Its member states are Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. SAARC comprise 3% of the world's land area and 21% of the world populations. Today we're gonna discuss like the SAARC start on 1985, but it stopped working in 2016. So Dr. Kaisar Khan, what you think that how we can start SAARC so that we can have like a strong relationship between all those state countries in South Asia?
Thank you, Fardeen, for your kind introductions, and thank you to my friends who will be discussing again in this meeting. Before we discuss about this particular topic, if we reflect back a little bit about the start of the SAARC, it went back to the late 70s when President Ziaur Rahman introduces this concept of regional cooperation. And one of the key foundation of our foreign policy actually started that time, where we are evolving as a newly independent country and have a strong voice in the regional forum as well as the world forum. And don't forget that during his tenure, um, Bangladesh was elected in the Security Council as a non veto power member. So that was the initiation, and he visited different countries like Pakistan, India, mainly these two countries, to convince them and join a regional in a regional forum, as well as the other smaller nation like Bhutan, who doesn't have an independent, still now doesn't have an independent foreign policies. Even he included Bhutan, a smaller island nation, Maldives, as well as Nepal, which is a like mountain, surrounded by the mountain. So those, and obviously Sri Lanka, which is an island nation. So look at it, it's a combination of small and large, as well as medium-sized countries. And within SAARC, there are two arch rival, India and Pakistan. They are loggerhead. They were fighting for like years, but still he was successful to organize them together. And that's why you will see not too much flexibility. Like the SAARC doesn't have that much flexibility to discuss bilateral issues, but have the flexibility to expand the regional cooperation. So that is a community approach rather than to one-on-one approach. But 101 101 negotiation, you like mingling, 101 in mixing with each other. That was also possible when there is a community approach. So the idea was to build this regional cooperation through different sectors, um, not directly in the geopolitical, but in other sector of cooperations, like different, say, for example, water resource management, the poverty elevations, like the trading, and those kind of things that comes in. the problem started, and it was working fine. Even a martial law government during General Eshad, who actually, even though there is a lot of criticism and other, even though we don't like many of his policies, but like nurturing SAARC and hosting the first summit in Dhaka, he played a role. So we should give credit to that one as well, irrespective of his political views, internal political views. But again, even in Indian politics, the Congress as well as other parties in that time, Michael Gujral time, even Devagora's time, they all, even BJP's first tenure uh, with Bajpayee, they were serious about this regional cooperation, and it was continuing. The problem, and even Nepal with transition from uh, monarchy system to the democratic system, or Maldives small, there are some transition, but everybody was serious about hosting SAARC, having some regular SAARC summit, and activate SAARC for the regional cooperation. And there were some kind of like friendly atmosphere still exist at that time, in late 80s, 90s, even in the beginning of, even after 9/11, when the Islamophobia was dominating in many parts of the world, but still that was working fine. But this problem started when I think there is a big changes in the like subcontinent politics done through 111, done through 111, because it's a paradigm shifting from a regional concept to a one-on-one, and established a hegemony of one large country. And I have no reservation to say the name, which is India. Now, that hegemony was so prominent in nowadays that SAARC is kind of paralyzed. It is kind of stuck and weird. And what fueled this hegemony is that the symbiotic relationship with the two kind of autocratic, and in Bangladesh concept, we should say that this is a fascist. The autocracy is not the right word for that, but still, the other part, the Indian part, is India was moving from its like democratic political system to its more autocratic, but still elected by the people. But the mentality was changed that much that even though it's like popularly elected government is behaving autocracy, particularly in the geopolitical context. So this is the main reason that I pointed out, that shifting of paradigm from the regional um, regional cooperative or regional organization to one-on-one, and with a kind of a vassal type of state that India wanted to create. Like they have influences in Bhutan, and they try to infiltrate and try to implement the same influence to Bangladesh. And that, I believe, the main cause of paralyzing SAARC for almost a decade. And obviously, the world politics, the Islamophobic world, also played a a significant role, and that India want to capitalize. So I think that's my takeaway. And the situation is changing right now, and we have to think differently and see how this forum can be reactivated. I think I can stop here for now. If Opuvai has some other discussion or some other topics to bring it here, then we can move on.
No, Kasar Bhai, I was listening minutely and I was enjoying the prognosis you were giving me. One thing I just wanted to add, like if I go back to the history, right? I just wanted to make both of you note that in 79, there was a concept of a regional cooperation among the South Asian countries. However, there were some a major contentious point to be discussed, to hash out before they can come into the same on the same table. Correct. Now,
Correct.
with that, I just wanted to jump 20 years in future, but one more thing I wanted to add. After 79, in 1981, the final concept paper was read by General Zia, which was a
Correct.
declaration and the foundation of the SAARC as we know. So keeping
Correct.
that, now I'm coming back 20 years on forward. In 2016-17, I wanted to refresh your memory. In 2017, Pivot Asia, the foreign policy of US of going back to China or pivot back to Asia and their presence was symbolically identified with a deal called Hambantota Port.
Correct.
Okay. So why I'm coming to the 20 years after, I'll tell you. After Hambantota
It's actually 30 something years
30
after
years.
actually.
Correct me. Sorry, my memory.
36 years actually.
Yeah, I'm getting older, so my memory is starting me. So 30 years. So imagine that America saw when they are dealing directly, the result become 180 degrees. Hambantota Port went not to US, rather it went to China.
Correct.
Okay. During this pivot Asia strategy, there was a race. Believe me, 2017, 2018, 2019, I can start the name of those cooperative and blocks they have been started creating. BRICS, NATO membership increase, Quads, Five Eyes, SEPTA, ASEAN, whatnot. I was just thinking, why these sort of regional blocks? Some of them are geopolitics, some of them are security, some of them are economics. But why? Why is the race? Everybody wants to join a bloc. Now imagine 20, 30 years back, Zenal Zia rightfully understood. I'll tell you very well that the principle the SAARC was decided to form was three basic principles. Nothing complicated as chemistry or physics. Very simple. One is regional cooperation through security. Number two, cultural exchange. And number three, free trade agreements.
That's
Now
correct.
come to the point that listen how these statements, General Zia's vision was so cutting edge at this time. Imagine. He thought that cultural exchange between countries are the most fundamental for acceptability of another set of people,
Group of
right?
people.
Group of people, right? I have my cultural shows, I exchange my culture, and imagine they have rightfully wanted to have a no visa structure 30 years back, which EU Schengen country is doing it right now. Okay.
And even the Gulf, even the Gulf
Absolutely.
countries.
Absolutely. Imagine. Then on the free trade agreement, as Fardin was mentioning, I'll tell you, not only 6% land, it is 6% GDP of the whole world is SAARC. Okay. Now, General Zia absolutely understood that a big country, small country cannot be a win-win for trade to happen. Okay, in a utopian world, yes, my comparative advantage should give me an advantage to produce garments. I'll be the master of garments. If they are good in cement, they will make cement. Okay.
Yeah. And maybe that time 30 years ago it was jute. We have that advantage of that.
Absolutely. Whatever I have, traditional item, non-traditional item, whatever I have. My question then I was looking at that through trade, trade block and free trade, he can have a better situation, if not a win-win, a more comfortable position for Bangladesh to be against the behemoth of Indian economy, which is a behemoth at that time as well.
Hmm.
Now, on the other hand, the security apparatus was very apparent too, because you have to understand that there was a Mao, a separatist, and all those movements. They were doing a drug trafficking, bipartisan drug trafficking, human trafficking measurements so that they have better visibility who are moving within the border itself. Now, all this, imagine a single block will ensure all these rainbow solutions for a successful regional block to be sustained, correct?
That's right.
Now, I'll tell you. So, the credit has to be given to General Zia. Now, as I was saying you, after 20, 30 years, I was mentioning about all the blocks, ASEAN blocks, SEPTA blocks, blah, blah, blocks, okay? During the SAARC, there was a discussion that the Muslim demography was a significant demography. I repeat, Pakistan, 82% Muslim. Bangladesh, at that time, 87% Muslim, 85, Dilam. I'll give it to
Yeah,
you.
Pakistan was even more, 92% at that
I
time.
give a conservative figure. I can't give you a conservative figure, okay? There are a lot of Punjabis as well. So 82, 85, Maldives, right? And India has a 10% Muslim, which is
Also
20.
Afghanistan.
If I add all
No,
those,
Afghanistan, Fardeen, Afghanistan was not was not part of SAARC that time. And later on, it was
Okay.
added after 2000.
yes, but it was an integral member as well within the SAARC because they were the observant before, but they were invited on there. Okay.
That's correct.
Now, what I'm trying to say is that, listen, Kaisar Bhai, if you look at from the statement perspective, this is how the statement will think about for my hegemony too, right? Within
That's right.
myself, within the 7 countries, some of them are very cutting edge economies, some of them are growing economies, some of them are burden economy, but the corruption was not that evident during that time. Okay, whatever we can do, we could have done that particular window through SAARC. Now, I'm not saying SAARC what could have happened, that which didn't happen, I don't want to discuss about it. However, after the Muslim demography was calculated, they figured out that India would definitely have an upper hand in terms of membership. That's how world works. That's how the whole membership works. Okay.
Mm.
Now, once the whole India-Pakistan Cold War starts after the liberations and everything, they still have all the Jammu Kashmir issues, right? That cracked the SAARC from there. And India thought that it was never been a good idea to empower all those regional states that are submissive to me, except Pakistan.
Mm.
So what happened is, listen, I'll tell you another point. Imagine that if you know, very interestingly, there were 7 more countries, they were observer to the SAARC. Interestingly, the countries were Mauritius, Australia, Myanmar. The reason I raise it, Myanmar was observant. If SAARC was that powerful, if SAARC existed today, Myanmar would never have the audacity to create this Rohingya Rakhine issue because there's a SAARC who could have played a significant role for protecting an influx of these refugee issues. I'm not saying that it happened that time, but it was, if it was a successful regional bloc, Myanmar being the observant, it would have been a deterrence. SAARC would have been played a significant role in deterrence.
No,
Or,
yeah, I mean that one point, but there are other issues or other parameters also, we need to consider for these Rohingya issues. But that's a different thought and different
no,
different.
I'm saying that if SAARC was so successful and inclusive, Myanmar from the observant would have been a partner just as a NATO. What is that? Now,
Yeah, I agree.
I'll tell you one thing very shortly. What I was trying to say is that India's hegemony is so aggressive nowadays that very recently I was seeing it. They wanted to topple Maldives' Maiju government through raw initiative. My question is, India is not in a diplomatic status anymore. They wanted to do bullyism, and they wanted to do it, but they're so unsuccessful. You can see how their friends become foes, and Bangladesh is one of them, and it's not never been different on that. Now, if you wanted to ask me whether we should bring SARC back, if you can do it without India, I'm off for it. But if you wanted to bring India, then you are bringing the problem again. Okay. And then there is much more avenue of manipulation, in my view, because India is much more powerful than anybody can think. However, my question is, we would be better off if we can revive SARC. We will have better leverage. Bangladesh is in a very good trajectory with 1,660 million people, with a decent economy, and with a decent armed force and Dr. Mohammad Yunus image. I think SARC can be a magic, and it will be a blow to India, and India should get this taste because it's in a back foot. Thank you very much.
So, both of you, thank you for your wonderful discussions. Mahul bhai, I cannot see you. Are you in the show?
না I just একটু ওয়ার্ড্রপ ম্যালফাংশন হয়েছে মনে হচ্ছে এই জন্য একটু
Oh,
যে হ্যাঁ
all right. So, from my discussions, like after quitting from Shark, like not quitting, after stopping the Shark operation in 2016, I think the biggest loser is no other than the India. Because if you see the global scenario, like all of the countries, especially Nepal, used to be a very, very good friend with India. Bhutan used to be a good friend with India. They only had not a friend, but they still had a business and trade with Pakistan. Bangladesh was in like in neutral positions before when the shark was working. But after quitting from 2016, when they decided not to join in Shark Summit in Pakistan, India actually lose everything from South Asia. If you see Nepal, they don't like them. If you see Maldives, they don't like them. They kick out their army from there. If you see Bangladesh, we don't have to discuss like what is the situation in Bangladesh. Bangladeshi people, they hate India like a hell. And Pakistan, they're already in a war. Bhutan, they already make a friendship with China so that they don't have to deal with India anymore. Nepal, China already helping them.
Sri
Uh,
Lanka.
Sri Lanka, you see the Sri Lanka, they just kicked out their like favorite prime minister in Sri Lanka. Afghanistan, there is no doubt after a US military moving from there, they don't like them anymore. Still, there is a little part they like them, but the majority of Afghanistan, they don't like them at all. So, what's the point if they don't want to work with Shark, but they think they will be the global power? I think there is a bit bad luck or bit unfortunate for the Indian citizen that they don't have good leaders. So I saw like a comment from a intelligent person from a mosque near to my workstations. So he said that if you look at the Africa, they have gold, they have oil, they have more gold, more powerful treasure than the Middle East has. If you look the GCC country, if you look UAE, United Arab Emirates, Dubai is a country which has, Dubai is a state which has less than 1% of oil than whole UAE has. So the 99% oil is the rest of the other six states in UAE, and Dubai has only like 1% of oil. But they don't have wealth in the beginning. They also get the independence in 1971, 50 years ago. But look at Dubai now because they have a great leader. So the unfortunately India, I think they didn't had a great leader. If you look at Pakistan, they had a good leader named our Imran Khan, who is a Oxford graduate. If you look at Bangladesh, right now Professor Dr. Mohammad Yunus, who is a globally important person, and you can say that he's an international person who also has a qualification to teach or be a lecturer in Harvard or Oxford University. But look at India. He discussed himself. Described himself as a tea seller in a railway stations. So when you have a leader like that who described himself as a tea seller, who has a past history of doing mob, destroying the minorities' mosque, destroying the other people, use religion as a weapon to win the elections, then when he run a country, he has to listen to his intelligence. And once, as a government, you decided to listen to your intelligence, then you don't have any other option doing diplomacy. Because intelligence are being trained to not to trust to anybody. If they see anyone, they wear like sunglasses so that nobody can watch it, what they're watching. Nobody can understand what they're doing. But they actually, their main job not to trust anyone around them, which create a big hassle for India, that the Indian leader has not that qualification to democrat or to do like follow the to be a diplomat way to control their neighbor or to handle their
No,
neighbor.
I I politely disagree with you, like this generalization, like people having higher educational qualification or others. Yes, obviously this is a plus point, but for politics and geopolitics, it's not always the your degrees or your exposure to the West or to the civilized like civilization. Because the thing is whether you are carrying the hope and aspiration of the people of that particular region or the country that you are representing, that is more important. Even not that highly educated person like Maulana Abdul Hamid Khan Bhashani was like from a degree from religious school, but he has a vision as well. He could think about from his local policies and other even foreign policies. Maybe you can differ, but on the other side, India also has great intellectuals who was running their countries, like I.K. Gujral or Jawaharlal Nehru or Mrs. Gandhi. Um, they 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 have education. Mrs. Gandhi was a Vishwabharati student. But the thing is, even Pakistan has a leader like Ayub Khan, who's a Stanford graduate, who's a general. Even Bhutto was from United States graduate, but that's not the whole. Or Benjir Bhutto was an Oxford graduate, but that's not all. It's the thinking process. It is not always in your head or the brain. It is also from your heart as well. So the thing is, a Sri Lankan, a Nepalese, or a Bangladeshis, or an Indian, or a Pakistanis, they they are from the similar similar demographic origin, and Afghanistan. So because they think their history is similar, their thinking process is similar. If I go somewhere try to find a food similar to, so we'll look back in this country's food, because that taste, like even our taste bud is similar. So the thinking process is that it comes from the heart rather than always the geopolitics. Now, no matter what the arms race is going on, whatever the like the economy, even look, India and Pakistan, both of them are nuclear powered. Now we can always channel through, go to this arms race, and we can have our friends from China or other, like from the Bangladesh perspective, but it will not solve the problem. Because what happened, if you look back, if you look back the history of Second World War or First World War, do you think that their colonial powers, Europe, they had like mighty army, huge technology, but was that solve their problem? No. Now, 50, 60, 70 years later, the Europe try to unite. They are thinking in a similar way. They don't have a visa. They don't need a visa. They can go another country and work and come back to their own country. If they wanted to settle, say a Latvian want to settle, or a Greek want to settle in Spain, they can go and work, and then they can be settled. So they make it open. So I believe, if the going back to that SAARC charter, the two very important aspects, the economic and this cultural ties, if we can revive this and revive the economic and cultural ties, right? Um, that I believe we can still um, imagine, or not still dream of it. Maybe it's possible, not dream. We can um, we can think of in the like a future of this region, that we can have a region similar like GCC or ASEAN, or at least if we start from ASEAN, which they have similarities and close to us, then we can think of European Union as well. So that can be possible, even though there are, look, France and England were fighting for over 100 years. All over the world, look at all the colonies, they're fighting. Later on, Italy comes in, they're fighting with England. The German
Also Spain.
Hitler was dominating, and the Second World War, how many people died? But still, at the end, they know that that is not the solution, and they went to the regional corporations and think collectively. So why not we? Why not we? If there is a
That's the
nuclear
reason.
bomb comes, I'm sorry.
That's
If
the
a
reason I
nuclear
was
bomb,
pointing.
you
Like,
are muted.
um, uh, d- Kaisar bhai, that's the reason I was pointing. Like, because India is not having a good leader. That's the main reason. I think Shark cannot be revived, because they don't want, like, when you look at like the intelligence eye, they will not let their like a main person to hang out with the other person. So if their main person is their prime minister, the intelligence will never let him hang out with the Bangladesh, with Maldives, with the all other the neighbors around India. So that's why their intelligence, I think, stopping India not to create like a regional friendship.
No, I think they have a big think tank, a lot of PhDs and big scholars are working. But when you at the beginning I said that it's not always from the head, it's from the like heart. Now when even if you look at very highly educated scholars, and they are promoting the hate with this Hindutva, like with all these PhDs, big surgeons, they are still, and even they have a good portfolio in like popular celebrities. They are pushing themselves into that trap. And I'm not saying that other like extremist like Islamist extreme, which is not related to the to our deen. Uh, that those type of forces is not present there. So it is also a prominent thing that is present in current days. But look back in India's economy. India's economy is in a world stage. They are portraying go to Europe or North America. Oh, it's a rising economy and this. But look at the distribution of the wealth. Look at the provinces close to Bangladesh or other than Maharashtra or Gujarat or Delhi, Punjab, those wealthy or south. Look at these states. Their GDP is way below than Bangladesh.
So,
And if overall GDP of India is lower than Bangladesh, even though you have Ambani and all these Tata and all these companies still exist. So you may think of it's like big, but if you look at the India's as a economy, it's
it's
not
very
like that.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you look at economy of India, it's very sucks. So like when there is a United Kingdom based, there is economist. I forget the organization name. They published a result, and when they publish the result, like they get like an 30 out of 80. So they change the three, make it eight, so that they look like they get 8 out of 80. So that's what they do, and how they do it, like in Bangladesh also, like when the people cannot
The
afford
data
yeah
manipulation.
when the people cannot afford the goods, they go to like like a certain store you can get food for like a cheaper rate,
Hmm.
like a government subsidized product. So India has to do like a government subsidized product if you don't have a job, if you don't buy the product. But they take that amount which like their like what the people, unemployed people, old people consume those products. They use that number as a consumption power, but they are not able to buy that goods for them. It's a government subsidized or government provided goods, but they use that number to change their economic growth, and they try to cheat with that graph so that they can show rest of the world that they're in a good economy. And if you look at the war, like they fight with Pakistan a lot of the time. Even if you look at like 1965, the Bangladeshi part of Pakistan, they fight with that portion, and they lose that war as well. If you look in 2001, in the border, the Burimani border, some borders, they lose their 300 troops. So in the war, they are not doing as good as they show. They try to display the rest of the world. But the thing, but if you look in United Nations and all other global organization, they able to recruit their favorite person, their obedient people on those organization. But if the shark revive, then Bangladesh has his vote, Pakistan has his vote. And what you think, like if something, because shark is also recognized by United Nations, it's mandated by United Nations. So if something necessary, like a daughter of Sheikh Hasina become World Health Organization is a key person. So India give those vote and make it happen. But if there is a shark, then shark will have that power to choose their own representative. Then do you really think India will get any kind of vote from the neighbor country? Name a country who can vote on behalf of.
That's a political issue, and it's a clear case of nepotism. And Mrs. Hasina was it the she actually manipulate that one. It's no doubt about it, because otherwise her daughter is not a very qualified person to get that position into the regional corporation. I think WHO should be accountable of these type of appointment. But that's a different areas. But what I wanted to emphasize, the the connectivity on exchanges, and as well as connectivity, Mumbai can also shed light onto into that, uh, because he has some financial background also. Uh, for example, from my background, we always, even I had a research paper, a couple of research paper on a Bangladesh power system, and I showed it's a published journal, and I showed that this is possible. The connectivity in the power grid. I'm giving like one example that's related to my areas of expertise. That connectivity of as a power grid, SAARC power grid, similar like North American power grid or European power grid. If the resources can be shared and see the advantages, if the no renewable resources can be shared among the neighboring countries or the member countries, then what happens is you have more flexibility to use like the clean energy among the nations. Say there are huge potential of having power exchange between India and Pakistan from Himalayas. Same from Bhutan and Nepal through Bangladesh. That is a great opportunities. Now look back. I'm giving one example. Other example is water resources management. Even like SAARC regional transport hub, like even the airport hub, that can be possible. I mean, I don't find a reason why I need an Indian visa to travel to India, as India has like NID or their database have the passport, and Bangladesh has a passport and legal documents with the like machine readable passport. What's the point of a Pakistani unless he's or Afghan wanted to visit? Now, if they wanted to, they can do that, right? Now, if they are like with a proper background check, they can do that, right? And let one to come into their countries. So if that is possible, why a Pakistani need a visa to go to India, or Indian need a visa to go to Pakistan, right? Same thing for this. But look at the hegemony thing. Nepal and India or Bhutan to India, they don't need these things. Now, when it comes to regional things, they're like, oh, we don't have to do that, and that's the hegemony. And if we are thinking that way, the business is possible, the trade, but when you do the business, it has to be honest, right? And not one party will treat other party uh, like like a big brother. So then business cannot be done. And I believe Mauva is a business expert into that domain. That's his domain. He can
So,
he can always shed light onto that.
no, absolutely. I mean, I can give you so many examples for how nakedly hegemony works. Kaisar bhai. I mean, if you have energy, I can start. But let's keep it for another day discussion. Let me go back to Fardin's statement, and also a couple of observations I wanted to pick from your discussion. Fardin was complaining that India didn't have a good, what do you call,
Good
leader.
leader.
Okay, just a second. My charge is okay. So, okay. So, I'll give you why. Why do you think that, Fardin, that they didn't get a good leader? India is so comprehensive and cohesive on their strategic decision that even if the administration change, nothing change at all.
That's correct.
South Bloc has determination for 35 years plan, road plan. I'll explain you more, but let me put it this way. 2014, there was a journalist Ask Amit Shah. Okay, very interesting question. They're saying that in India we have bring a secular party with the name of popularism, but in Bangladesh we didn't bring a popular party with the sake of a secular reason. Okay, so it was as just a statement from the journalists that democracy should have their own flavor. It can bring BJP, Hindutva, RSS, whatever. In Bangladesh also, they have the right to decide anything they want. At that time, 111, you manipulate 111, you engineered 111. Let's not go into that. But what I'm trying to say is that at that time, in my bank, in American bank where I was working, when Modi won, there was so many educated Indians were happy. I was surprised. I asked my colleagues that how can you support Orthodox party um, who has hatred, and you have elected that guy who has been disbarred from entering US because of the riot, and he was the main guy to be charged. I mean, why is that? Then I found out that there is a Hindu nationalism and resurgence of Hindu nationalism, regardless whether you're educated, whether you can
Absolutely.
rationalize or not. Okay. So India was very informed, and it was a landslide victory. After 10 years of landslide power, this is the first time they have faced challenge. And for any given political party, the fatigue can come because with 10 years ruling, there is always a baggage. Okay. Now, in terms of Fardin's another observation, Fardin was regretting that India, look about Sri Lanka, and he was doing a roll call of all the countries, that nobody, all the neighbors, none of them are happy with India. I ask, do you ever ask why? Why they will be unhappy? Why they are unhappy?
Was India poking everybody? That's the
Listen,
fault.
India doesn't have the philosophy. They are so arrogant, and they are rightfully so. You know why? Because I'll tell you. I'll come to the regional connectivity later, but because I have very good knowledge about some of the regional connectivity and strategic directions they have taken. In uh, uh, I'll come to SAARC, but what I'm trying to say is that if you look at my country in Bangladesh, if there was a SAARC, okay, my pran juice would have been go to Gujarat and sold to Gujarat, okay. My Unilever product or my Care Cosmetics would have been in Assam, Tripura. None of the product is there, and their products are here. And my mother also cannot survive without seeing some Indian short films, and yeah, cereals. Okay, so these are the invasions they are doing, but we cannot do anything. If there was a SAARC, you could have come to me, and I can tell you that our bargaining power would have been skyrocketed, because if you don't allow my product to work there, I would not allow your product to be. That's the rule, because we are in a regional cooperation, correct? So those are the things you will see how minutely India has subside SAARC and in its initiative, and rightfully so. You have to give them credit. Now I'll tell you, in Bangladesh, I had an opportunity to talk to Dr. Moshiur Rahman. I had
The
opportunity,
advisor, previous
uh,
advisor of
advisor, yes,
Mrs. Wazir.
advisor, yes. He was.
Okay.
So I asked him about transit, okay, because I went with numbers. He was in Boston, and you know that he's a Bostonian as well. He has a lot of friends, and he has alumni here. So some here and there, I used to have a room to talk to him. So one of the occasion I asked him that, Sir, why did you say that we are uncivilized to charge transit fees? He made a comment that we are not uncivilized to charge our friends a transit fees. Okay. In contrary, India has given us that we would do maintenance, no transit fees. Maintenance means what? You know what? In yearly basis, I will go and do some road work and road repair, but on top of that road, I will run 50 tires of payload in one truck. Okay, these are unproductive, and our politicians, those stupid MF politicians, okay, sorry my abbreviation, they how, what is the chetona of those people that they are saying we are uncivilized to charge transit fees when Panama Canal charged 500,000 for single shipment? Okay, for say, why we can't? I'll come to that later. Another
Okay.
point Kaisar Bhai wanted to make, that none of the neighbors who ever get into India has never been a win-win situation. They have marginalized. India has marginalized. I can tell you very interesting story about a secretary who was, I cannot reveal, I cannot tell anything, but he told me that when they have a meeting with India, they are given on a blank of paper and says that তিনোটাতে হা বলিবেন, চারটা না বলিবেন, তিনটা ঝুলাইয়া রাখিবেন. This is how the secretary level discussions, bilateral discussion happens with India. So you can see how manipulated and how raped we were during the last 15, 16 years, the hegemony against India. Those are the things I can tell you a lot of stories.
I have one point to add because Indian foreign policies based on this fundamental is the Chanakya.
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 Yeah, Chanakya rule.
And Chanakya rule, that means you don't consider anybody, any neighbor as your friend, is all like you try to dominate them. That's one. And
Exactly.
still South Bloc is, Chanakya is a fundamental, and also South Bloc adopted the IK Gujral doctrine, still there. IK
Still.
Gujral doctrine. And look at the even the very recent memories 2 months, 3 months ago in August, when Sheikh Hasina flew to Delhi, right? Who is coordinating? Ajit Doval. Who is men like Jai Shankar, Ajit Doval, Rahul Gandhi, and the BJP's top head? All are in the same page.
All are in the same.
Maybe all are on the same page. They are not differing with these policies to support their own puppet. You understand?
Yeah.
So their doctrine is like the cohesive. They don't differ in their foreign
You
policy,
know,
not
that's
like
what I'm
us or
saying.
even in some other countries. So Bangladesh is a country having a wide differences when the internal politics played and our foreign policy changes rapidly. That's one of the major problems that Bangladesh need to fix.
So now, if I summarize that, all the countries I have studied, all the countries in any level, security level, economic level, I'll tell you, the whole world, every question works on economic term. If the economy is successful, you can have anything you want. Okay. So, in final word, in my view, in terms of connectivity, Kaisar Bhai, you were talking about the connectivity, regional connectivity. I'm very aware of the Roads and Highways Initiative in Bangladesh. Okay, Kaisar Bhai, are you with us or are you?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay, so in a few months back, there was a direction from Bangladesh government to most of the construction company that stop all the work and do two major work. One is Bogura work, that's called SASEC project, South Asian Sustainable Economic Corridor project, and that project is major objective was to connect with India's infrastructure they have already created. They have already spent $270 million in Bogura, in Rangpur border and in the Feni border. Okay, I'll tell you, the India for last 15 years they only invested $800 million. Among that $800 million, $600 million work in progress, and none of the work has done. So they are not a benevolent, they are not a friendly neighbor, they are a manipulator. And my question is, so far we have allowed them because of the name of Chetona and those buggers and all the thugs and mercenaries. Now my question is, India is getting a bit of taste. This is our high time to revisit our all the negotiations. Some of the negotiation we cannot win because these are bilateral agreements. This needs to be only nullified under force majeure. Kaisar Bhai, you know a term called force majeure because in utility we use force majeure. Only when there is a force majeure, your
international, you have to abide by the international
correct.
treaties.
And with all this, now it's a time for negotiation. If the politics and economy is stable, I think we can have better window with India. If even if it's not economically viable, at least security wise, we should decouple ourselves gradually. That's how I looked at.
No, I agree with you.
The economical is not possible.
Yeah, economically is not possible, but security wise we have to decouple because their element is to create. I'll tell you, India has created so much havoc for Dr. Yunus. My friends are also telling that he is tired and he's under fatigue. The only observation is going forward, if he goes for a resignation, for an interim government, not a caretaker government, for an interim government to succeed, martial law has to be orchestrated, even if it is an orchestrated martial law. And from that martial law, they will have a fragmented level of politics by diminishing BNP's power. If they can bring Jamaat and a level of coalition in the legislative body, they are the winner. I can tell you this. They don't want any brute majority or comfortable majority in the legislative body. And I'm talking about, yeah, please, Kaisar bhai.
Sorry, brute majority, no matter it's a brute or a majority, but a politically and democratically elected government is needed in terms of have a strong position to nullify this hegemony, or as much as to reduce this hegemony, because otherwise in an ideal situation they can portray this current government, no matter what is the affiliation of Dr. Yunus, or he has a big name and fame, but still they are not elected. They can always say this is unelected illegal entities. So the so that is one of the constraint that we have, even though that's not a very popular statement that when BNP is asking for election, but election is needed with whatever means as possible, soon as possible, to have a people's representative government. And in this case, BNP also has to act responsibly to integrate all the corners, all the different ideologies, not similarly that to talk in a cohesive manner. Similarly, the Indians are doing. I think that for regional cooperation or like independence of the countries, I believe that is a key thing, that representation and cohesively we need to talk in all respect, like connectivities in terms of the transportations or energy securities, food securities, all this can be done. And if we have an ideal, just give an example. Same like people who does non-ethical or not that ethical standard high, but when they come to North America, when they behave properly, right? Because otherwise, the rules and regulation laws are strict. They behave, otherwise unethical practice. If they do it, they have to go to jail. So if you bring in law and order and cohesive in a cohesive manner, I think that time connectivity or the bilateral exchanges and trade, it will be much more easier than what is happening right now.
Absolutely. No, I agree. Unfortunately, Fardin, I have to excuse myself today, but it was a fantastic discussion, Kaisar bhai. I really appreciate your insight.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's what I was also thinking. And it's even though it's a little late in at night, tomorrow we have uh, work as well as kids' school, all this. But it's an interesting discussion, and we enjoyed. Unless you have any, I think we already
But I still
talked
want
most of
to.
the issues. You can
I still
conclude.
want to know a little bit from you before you leave us that you said the Dr. Mohammad Yunus is so much under the pressure. But what you think he already called for all party conference and everybody supported Dr. Mohammad Yunus. And this is the 2024 is the year where we show our unity. The whole country are unified and they become like a one like a country with all of his population, all of his support. So why you think something like that, like he's not strong enough to fight with the Indian hegemony or the economy? Like I saw like how strong he is. They tried to raise the onion price, not to export in Bangladesh. Right now, India is selling each onion for less than 2 cents, if you convert in dollar. And in Bangladesh, onion is per kilo. That means 2 pound is less than 30 cents, and which was
No, no, no. What I, Fardin, I'll tell you. It's very premature to go for a report card now for him. But if you ask me, I would probably give him 8 out of 10 in economic stability. He has did a fantastic job for bringing foreign aid, some direct investment, and the
Banking.
residents. It's all vote of confidence to him, no doubt about it. I would probably give him 8 out of 10 for diplomatic side, the way he's upholding our image as a sovereign country. I really appreciate it. But administratively, he's getting tired because you know the resistance. You know how India is not sitting on the sidelines, right? They would definitely try to do
yeah,
uh,
they tried. Like if you look
anything
at if you
unstable this
if you look
government
at
and
the electric the power supply, the Adani group did whatever they can do, but they fail. Like Dr. Manu is able to pay all those debt so that they cannot stop providing that power. And if you look like other things, like as I'm talking about
thing. But then India has penetrated our society in such a way that even a VC,
by your video, I think turn off
yeah,
some.
yeah, my video is off.
Oh,
But I'm saying is that India has infiltrated us so much that even a VC of our universities are raw agent. So you cannot read out. Dr. Mohammad Yunus trying to do amalgamation on the administration because you have to run the administration through some clean image people as well. Very hard to find. Last 15 years, Bangladesh has created all the bastards, correct?
it's not
All the
Bangladesh.
corrupt bastards.
The Sheikh Hasina created all those bastards.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So, given all that, Dr. Mohammad Yunus is facing some issues. However, very interestingly, what I was trying to say is that India is not stepping behind. They are also playing their anti. How? Look at this. Jamaat is getting a very good buffer zone from army, but Jamaat is getting a buffer zone from a lot of embassies, right? So if Jamaat works with the student bodies, Sarjis and other people, right? So they will create a good comfortable force, but it will never be a consensus force. How many people will love Jamaat behind the scene? Okay, and what do you think? There is a kahabat in Bangla. Potana bal bogula chapdari. Sargis folks cannot create a 333 seats political party within 6 7 months. You have to work. Okay, Thana level, UNO level, TNO level, everywhere you have to have some groundwork. So with that, if they are getting more attentions, you will see that there will be less attention for BNP. And if there is a latest established party like BNP is marginalized in national politics, you will see there will be a lot of misunderstanding. Okay, there will be a lot of spat between Jamaat and BNP, which are good strategic force rather than spatting. So these are the things that India is trying to create. I'm looking at social unrest. I'm looking at administrative lagging and lack of implementation. Lots of high hopes. But I'll tell you, I was expecting more because after this big decisive revolution, you have so much power, Fardin. You should have done some shock and awe decision change. They should have done it. I don't know. Everybody is now saying Prothom Alo, Asif Nozrul, Daily Star. Nobody is going after beyond them. They are so powerful. They are like cabal. But anyway, so this is what I think to your answer, Fardin.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mahubai, and thank you everybody. So Mahubai, if you like to join with us for a few more like minutes, we're really happy. But you just explained like you have to go somewhere. So do you have time for us, or is you still?
I will make it today day off now. So
Okay.
absolutely, we will catch in our Kaisar bhai. We can add more if you have time. Definitely, you can add.
I think I got to go. With
No, Kaisar
I
bhai,
have to actually.
we like to hear your closing statement as well from the situation, because I give him the opportunity so that he can make his mind. But I have a humble request to you, because our viewers definitely wants to know your closing statement. What you think? How? Because you are the one who has more experience on like an electricity and power industry, and the way India tried to hit Bangladesh with that power or electricity, but through the Adani, they tried to stop the supply of electricity. If the electricity stops, then there is no garments, no power, no other export. Then the Bangladesh economy gonna be collapsed. But Dr. Molinus, in my eyes, he was successfully able to fight with that conspiracy. He able to pay those debt so that they cannot stop the contract. So, what you think? Dr. Kaisar
There
Khan.
are a couple of things. I just highlight one, the regional power grid, that kind of a solution. Even that particular paper that I wrote with my student, he's now a faculty. Interestingly, my student is a faculty of the same university that in many other like good universities when I was in an academia. So other part in that paper, we mentioned that we wanted to reduce like dirty or coal-based power generation. But again, that policy decision, we are so much under captured of Indian hegemony that we have to like swallow. We have to absorb Rampa. Like we didn't increase the efficiency of Boropukuria, rather absorb Rampal, which is detrimental to our environment, because it's not just like few megawatt, few hundred megawatt generation is the Sundarban. Sundarban. We don't have that much of
1100
forest.
megawatt, Kaisar bhai, 1100 megawatt,
I know, more
supercritical
than one
project,
gigawatt.
supercritical ash reduction project. But as you said, why Sundarban? Why
That's
there?
right.
If you have a coal place supercritical refined project, no problem, because it may be a good for my energy portfolio for overall cost, but not in Rampal. Why?
Not in Rampal.
Hey,
So that's one thing that I said that one. The other thing, like even though there are a lot of criticism into that, but second thing that they did, and it comes back to the Indian the power exchanges between India and Bangladesh. The the implementation of the Rupur project, which is like once these 2 gigawatt comes in and it will be expanding for certain time period in western zone will have excess power than the demand. So what is my option? Either not to generate that much from the nuclear, or we have to create a transmission line to bring the western zone to the eastern part of this. But if we have a regional connectivity during, that energy cannot be restored other than a huge battery. So during a critical time, we can do real time energy exchange between India or even Nepal with the excess generation that we have from nuclear station. Um, from nuclear station. So I think that is possible. That is possible that we do. Other aspect of this is that uh, a there are other bad things they did, like the capacity chart. I'm not going into that because of the regional, but importing energy, coal-based energy with a higher cost from like a supply like Adani, there is absolutely no financial analysis or viability was treated. Just to make my friend happy and get the deal. It's just like that. It was not well planned. So in order to reduce this one, if there are SAARC grid, and I propose a SAARC grid, not looking at my own perspective, because in that case, SAARC grid would similar like European grid. So in some other places in the region, they generate, and some like nearby region absorbing that power. So if there is SAARC grid between Sri Lanka and India, under submarine cable, like through submarine cable, Pakistan and India through a fair deal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, and India, and Nepal combinedly to utilize the hydro resources as well as the coal resource from India and the hydro resources from Nepal and Bhutan. That will be a win. And even we have the nuclear in Rupur to share those power. That can be a win-win situation. But again, if I looked at this type of connectivity, obviously you need a fair deal in the business, not doing business with a crook. So I believe like that is possible, but you have to come out of that type of like big brother mentalities when you do fair business.
I think the Adani was the cashier of Modi, as we can see. The Salman Afron was a cashier of the regime, the previous regime Sheikh Hasina. The same way, the Adani tried to make money, but Indian Prime Minister was little patriotic more than Bangladeshi Prime Minister, ex Prime Minister was. So that's how Sheikh Hasina tried to rob their own citizen, and what Modi tried to do, let his cashier rob the neighbor country Bangladeshi citizen. That's how that's how they make the deal so that they can. And even in India, if you donate money in any political party, no one can ask. Even like they're like we have IRS in United States, and Bangladesh has like the core commission. So, but whatever India has, they cannot ask if you donate that money. So they specifically and they clear make those deals so that they can make that things happen. So the Adani can donate as much as money the Modi need to run his political party. And how he gonna make the money? Robbing the Bangladeshi citizens. So that's the main reason. But I don't think it's there is a time when Bangladeshi citizens and Bangladeshi administration gonna react. Reason like this is not the time. You have to take what we American people say is like a one at a time, one at a time. So they're taking the steps one at a time, but there will be day which will be like our day. We'll start still not consider like 2024 is our day. It's like we achieved the freedom. We just had the favor. We didn't drink the freedom yet. We just have the favor of the freedom yet. So now 2025 we can see like a lot changes, I believe. The situation, the economy in Bangladesh right now, the Pakistani deputy prime minister is coming. They're providing there are too many governments opportunity in Bangladesh, so the economy definitely gonna be changed. That's my belief. And thank you, Dr. Kaisar Khan. Thank you, Mahbul Bhai, Mahbul Rahman Bhai, to coming our show. And that's all for today's show. And thank you listening to our show. And we'll be coming again and to talk about more what we can do together to change our economy, our loved, beloved country, Bangladesh, which is always, no matter what we where we live in, but people of Bangladesh and the country of Bangladesh always stay in our heart, and that's why we all three brother from United States came together talk about the situation of Bangladesh. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. My
Appreciate
pleasure.
that.